Do you hear it? The sizzling, the boiling. I think we have some Final Fantasy XIV hot takes, people, in the house, in the building today. And it is our sacred duty, nay charge, to react to your Final Fantasy XIV hot takes. So let's get right on into it, shall we? We are going to start off with a spicy one, but it's kinda right. We are here with at Robert Rappaport 3610, who says, Phantom Berserker allows you to completely ignore the Mind Flayer summon ability and may even help with the turtle's green shell ability. Hey, there you go. But now, hot take, Final Fantasy XIV fans will never be happy. This zone, Occult Crescent, has grind, but it is way more time generous than Eureka or older MMOs. The community zergs between expectations of getting stuff for little effort or great grind. People were comparing the new Relic grind to a Realm Reborn, which tells me they never build in a Realm Reborn weapon. This zone is my freaking vacation from Yamlock of M6S, and I can't tell you how badly I needed it. I don't ask everyone to be happy, but I do want us to stop pretending MMORPG development has a happy medium monolith that can be achieved. Could things be better? Sure. So could my freaking luck. If this didn't have grind, there would be zero longevity for the zone. That's not really healthy long term. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's start with like the overarching spirit of the argument here, because I do agree with it. You're never going to please everyone, and that is one of the elements of MMO design, but also just especially video game design that is everlasting. It's one of those constant truths. You cannot please everyone. And more often than not, I tend to find that if you try to actively please everyone, then you don't really specialize in any one thing, so your game isn't particularly interesting. It's just kind of bland and generic. It's solidly okay, but it's not particularly special for any singular reason, or even a multitude of reasons. And especially in today's market, being solidly okay and passable just simply isn't enough, especially when it concerns being an MMORPG. You have to shine at something. For the longest time when it came to Final Fantasy XIV, you can argue a bunch of things, but I think two elements in particular that Final Fantasy XIV has always done a great job at is storytelling and just story overall, but also spectacle. A lot of things in Final Fantasy XIV look freaking cool. The glamour system has its problems, but you can get extremely creative with that kind of stuff. Fight design, visually at least, is largely beautiful, and we don't need to talk about how good the story for Final Fantasy XIV has historically been. Heck, I was a little down and out on Dawntrail's story for a while, and then 7.2 came around and I'm firmly back in. And when it comes to specific zones like, say, the Occult Crescent, you can't design that type of content to please everyone. There are going to be people that just want to go in and with minimal effort get what they want and then never do it again. Whereas there's going to be other people that want a reason to continue playing it. They want a reason to continue it. They want that grind. They want a goal, an aspiration to work for and to work towards, all while playing content that they genuinely enjoy. It's one of the mainstays of MMORPG development. And it's one of the most important elements I've been talking about in terms of the Occult Crescent. For me, at least, it's not a matter of whether or not the grind is short or long. I would argue for a piece of content like the Occult Crescent, it should have a long grind. It should have a reason that you want to keep playing it, because this is the type of content that is meant to satiate the player base until we get more content down the line. And heck, it's the type of content we're still kind of supposed to come back to, even when we do get new content. For me, the problem isn't that like the Occult Crescent is too grindy or not grindy enough. It's as a game, you have to be fun and interesting. And if your grind itself is not interesting and the thing you're grinding towards isn't interesting, then the entire structure falls apart. But remember what we just talked about. This stuff is inherently subjective. What one person finds engaging or what they find fun could be the polar opposite of what someone else finds fun and engaging. Likewise, when it comes to rewards, the rewards could appeal directly to somebody and be a complete off-put to someone else. For me, I kind of lost the dice roll when it came to the Occult Crescent. The rewards don't actually appeal to me, largely speaking, besides the Warrior Relic weapon, which looks awesome, by the way. I'm glad I got that thing, even if I absolutely despise Demiatma. Maybe despise is the wrong word. That system's just so close to being a system I would actually like if there was just a way to turn an extra Demiatma at some rate into the one I need, or the one I want. If I had that, we're golden. But without it, it just became a massive slog to me. But for other people, they may not feel that way, because their brains are wired differently. They like different things, they want different things, and they interface with the game in different ways to me and to other people. It's one of the issues when it comes to content like this. You cannot please everyone, but people fundamentally want different things out of this game and out of content like this. It's one of the reasons I think when they announced Dawntrail and all the content that would be in Dawntrail, I talked about how it could arguably have one of the best endgames of any Final Fantasy XIV expansion, simply because it has a little bit of everything. If you don't like something like the Occult Crescent, but you love a deep dungeon, well, we're going to get a new deep dungeon, and a new variant dungeon. They tried out new content with chaotic raids. We're going to get Beastmaster, near the tail end of the expansion, but still. And it's like, as we've been playing through Dawntrail, yeah, it's kind of expected that it would be broken up across the various patches. So, if the stuff that comes early doesn't particularly appeal to you, you may be really put off by what Dawntrail actually has. Whereas right now, if something like the Occult Crescent really appeals to you, you're good. Like, you're golden. You're locked in and you're playing and you're enjoying yourself and you're having fun with your video game. And that's all you could ask for. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't, like, overall, like, critiques you can level at pieces of content that largely make sense and would probably largely make it play better or just feel better. I think most people can agree that the fate system in the Occult Crescent is absolutely garbage, and I don't know how that got greenlit. The scaling is absolutely terrible, and it just leads to unsatisfying content in my eyes. Maybe, though, someone else has a different perspective on that, and they really like the flow of the Occult Crescent because of the scaling of fates. And they like the fact that if you're able to get enough people together, for whatever reason, that the fates die quicker. Whereas someone like me, I miss the variety of objectives we used to have. Even if it wasn't much, it was at least something that we used to have back in Bosnia. Or heck, even the open world. Dude, I went back to Shaloni to grind the 3 last Demiatma that I needed for my relic weapon. Why were those fates more interesting than the ones in the Occult Crescent? They weren't hard, they weren't even that engaging. I was bored out of my gourd. But still, there was more variety there than in the actual Occult Crescent. And sure, the fates are like basically scaled down critical encounters, but because of the scaling, it doesn't particularly matter because they die so quickly and they just feel so insignificant. Look, I'm playing Warrior here, so, you know, things aren't that dangerous to me compared to if I was playing, say, a regular DPS. But even then, it's not like these mechanics are particularly that, like, thrilling or engaging, especially when compared to the critical encounters. And when it feels as if you spend most of your time actually getting to an objective, getting to one of these fates, rather than actually interfacing with that content, well, I don't know many people that would be enjoying a game if the load screens in totality took longer than it actually took to play the game. It's one of these elements of, especially MMORPG design, we always have to keep in the back of our minds when we're talking about this game, or we're giving critiques, or just giving feedback overall. People at the end of the day fundamentally like different things, and they want different things out of this game. Now, it's not like it's always a 50-50 split, right? Sometimes some ideas are just way more popular than others. But I think especially when it concerns the Occult Crescent, we are seeing a group of people that really like that content, and another group of people that really don't like the content. I'm kind of burnt out on it, personally. And this kind of leads into a second hot take of the video. We have at Big Allen Brooklyn 83 who says Occult Crescent is the most boring crap I've ever seen. Now, I would push back and disagree with this. And I've leveled many a critique at the Occult Crescent. However, I have played Dragon Age the Veil God, and I promise you that game is way worse than this. Also, you're not gonna get this one by me. I have played Summoner in Final Fantasy XIV. I know real boredom, and it's not the Occult Crescent. Though I will say, I think I am largely burnt out on the Occult Crescent, and it's for a lot of the reasons we've talked about before. For a grind to work, you have to really enjoy the content that you're doing, and also really like the rewards you get at the end of that grind. The rewards just don't appeal to me at all. I don't care about any of the glamour sets. I got a bunch of the minus stuff already. I have my relic weapon for the one job that I think it looks good on, and even then, to get other ones is just tombstone, so we're going back to Endwalk anyways for that. Cool. It's kind of fine by me, because there's other pieces of content in Final Fantasy XIV that I do want to dump hours into, so having the Occult Crescent kind of not be up my alley for a long-term grind, in a weird, like, cosmic sort of way, you're gonna get why that works as a pun in a minute. It works out for me, so I can go do things like cosmic exploration. See, I told you it'd work out. And also, so help me God, I've done the Hildebrand quest. They were so good, and I need that Noir set, so I have to go back into Higat's variant dungeons. Which actually, they're a pretty cool concept, actually. I'm interested to see what they do with them when they bring them back. But like, going back to one of the points I talked about near the beginning of this video, this was one of the elements about Final Fantasy XIV Dawntrail that for the longest time I've talked about being kind of good. The amount of variety, when all this content starts to come online. We've had cosmic exploration, we have chaotic raiding, we have the Occult Crescent, we're going to get a new deep dungeon, I think we're still getting another variant dungeon. When this stuff comes online, if one of those things doesn't particularly appeal to you, chances are you can go do something else and dump a bunch of time into that stuff if the rewards appeal to you more, or if the content just simply appeals to you more. And if you end up liking it all, then well, hey, the world's your oyster. Feast up, yeah? Become fat and happy. Next up, we have an interesting one. We have at Wildburner005 who says, "Alright, mild take here. What is this, a Taco Bell sauce? Make weekly cap be a cap on spending by class. I want a multi-class week 1. I get the desire, I do. I just don't know how the game would execute on this idea, because one, unless it's like a weapon, most gear is role-based anyways. And like, yeah, you can argue about specific substats and all that, but like, rule of thumb, most of the gear is role-based in this game. Well, at least unless you're DPS, you have to worry about like maiming and scouting and striking and all that. But chances are, if you get a piece of gear, it's going to be applicable for more than one job. But honestly, I don't know how I feel about this, and I kind of lean on the side of, I think the current system's fine. I don't think tombstones are that bad, but they give you a reason to play every week to at least aspire and achieve something, and doing it in your own way, or at least doing the kind of content that rewards the tombstone that you want to do. Like, how would this even work? Would you say have multiple types of capped tombstones, one for each armor class, and you just spend them that way? Do you uncap the tombstones in general, but then you add this other cap for each specific role? Is that how you do it? I feel as if these solutions just needlessly complicate an already simple system that thrives on its simplicity. I like the fact that it's capped, so it's not like you feel compelled to play all the time on release day, just spamming the same stuff over and over again. You can just take it at your own pace. I like that element to it. And like, yeah, maybe there's a better solution, but I kind of like the idea of being able to pick, say, hey, I am deciding to go tank here. I'm going to invest my main resources into tanking. Later down the line, I can use my spare on other roles and on other armor types, but right now, I'm going to prioritize my tank jobs. I kind of like that decision making. It's also not like, unless you're trying to do like ultimate raids, and I'm talking like new ultimate raids, like a new one that comes out, or like you're trying to do Savage very early in a tier and stuff like that, the game gives you a bunch of decent gear that you can put on your alts, which I know is what I kind of do. I put my most important and best item level gear on my main role, which is tank, and the other stuff that I get through, say, like dungeons or the uncapped tomes, I'll just dump on my other alt roles, like Magic Range or Dragoon and Reaper, stuff like that. I don't know, I think if we're going to do something about gearing in this game, I don't think acquisition's the biggest problem. I would rather gear itself become a bit more interesting, because I like the tome system. I always have, and I think I always will. It's simple and to the point, and like, yeah, it may not be for everyone, but I think it's a rather healthy system. Also, look, oh my god, I play World of Warcraft as well, right? It's like, I've seen bad gearing systems, trust me, we just want to stick with the tome gear, It may not be perfect, but trust me, it can get so much worse. Like, shockingly quickly, and sometimes for reasons you wouldn't think of. Let's just keep the tone gear, and forget we ever had this conversation. You know what? If you don't want Torghast to be added to Final Fantasy XIV, trust me, you don't. Oh god. Oh no, Legion Legendaries. Ah! Quick, save yourself. Leave a like and subscribe on this video to prevent RNG drops on Legendaries that like double your DPS. Do it, save yourself! Okay, cringe aside, leave a comment down below with your own hot take about Final Fantasy XIV. It can be about the Occult Crescent, it can be about cosmic exploration, it can be about Hildebrandt, it can be about 7.2.5, it can be about anything for Final Fantasy XIV, past, present, and future. I'd love to hear your thoughts, hear your opinions, and hear your perspectives, and I may even react to them in a future video. Stay safe, have a great day, go play some video games, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye everybody, until we meet again.